Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. Clearly, the Warriors need reinforcements. Who would be the ideal acquisition for a trade? Trey Murphy III, from the Pelicans, is a dynamic forward with great scoring ability, and he would fit perfectly with the Warriors. Trey Murphy of the Pelicans is a player the Golden State Warriors are really interested in trading. After all, the franchise almost drafted him in the 2021 NBA draft, 14th overall, when they were torn between him and Moses Moody. The Warriors really liked Trey Murphy and tried to contact the New Orleans team during the NBA offseason for a trade. But the New Orleans Pelicans, to be clear, rejected all offers, valuing him highly. However, the most likely scenario for Golden State to strengthen their roster with Murphy is to involve Jonathan Kuminga. Warriors predicted to cut ties with $47 million forward. The Golden State Warriors entered the 2025-26 NBA season with guardedly optimistic expectations. After trading to acquire six-time All-Star small forward Jimmy Butler at last year's deadline, Golden State's defense tightened up, and the team went 23-7 to close out the regular season. The Warriors bested the Houston Rockets in the first round of the playoffs, but injuries to 11-time All-NBA point guard Stephen Curry and Butler helped Golden State get knocked out of the second round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. More news: Warriors urged to make blockbuster trade for $175 million. All-Star center Golden State brought back guard Anthony Melton and signed former five-time All-Star big man Al Horford to bolster its roster over the summer. Rookie shooting guard Will Richard, the number 56 pick out of Florida, has already emerged as a legitimate rotation piece. And yet, the Warriors have gone a disappointing 9-9 to start the season, and currently are hovering around in play-in tournament range again. The club currently occupies the Western Conference's number 8 seed. But Golden State has one major mechanism for roster improvement that it seems willing to explore this season, per Mark Stein of the Stein Line, trading re-signed power forward Jonathan Kuminga. Stein is convinced a Kuminga deal is inevitable this season. Golden State went 4-1 to kick off its season, but the fitful availability of Curry led to a subsequent 2-5 dip. Stein reports that various corners of the league believe the Warriors will trade Kuminga in time for this season's February 5 deadline. Kuminga's movable money. After a lengthy restricted free agency negotiation process, the 23-year-old agreed to a 2-year, $46.8 million contract with the Warriors prior to the start of the season. The deal has a $24.3 million team option. Because of the timing of the agreement, Kuminga cannot be dealt until at least January 15. It's one of the best trade chips in the league, an executive informed Stein. The 6'8" vet, who's currently sidelined with a knee injury, has posted middling averages of 13.8 points on .478/.324/.771 shooting splits, 6.6 rebounds, and 2.8 assists in the 13 games he's played for the Warriors so far, 12 starts. Steve Kerr proposes a solution to the Warriors' rebounding woes after a shocking loss to Trailblazers. The Golden State Warriors suffered a shocking loss to the shorthanded Portland Trailblazers in an NBA Cup game on Friday night. While Denny Avdija and Caleb Love had standout performances, rebounding proved to be a glaring difference between the two teams. Entering Friday's NBA Cup game between the Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trailblazers, everyone knew injuries ravaged the latter. They did not have a true point guard in the active lineup, while second leading scorer Shaedon Sharpe was also sidelined. The Warriors had a decent performance, but they were significantly out-rebounded 52-32. Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams III combined for 21 rebounds, as Jimmy Butler led the Warriors with 8. The second chance points also showed this discrepancy, with Portland leading 28-10. Warriors head coach Steve Kerr is well known for his affinity for playing a small ball system, but they were completely defeated by the Trailblazers' focus on getting rebounds on both ends of the floor. This has led to criticism of Kerr and his rotations, adding to the pressure he's facing amidst the recent issues. Kerr thinks a double big lineup could work in the future. To start the game against the Blazers, the Warriors chose to start Draymond Green at center. Trusting Green has been a common tactic for Kerr over the past decade, but it was interesting to pick that lineup against a Blazers team with a 7-2 Klingon as starting center. For most of the first half, Klingon was dominant in the paint, scoring off lobs and putbacks. It was clear that the Warriors were struggling against him and Williams, who was Klingon's backup. As the game evolved, Klingon sustained a calf injury that limited his playing time. Al Horford also suffered an injury, but he was unable to return to the game. However, Williams stepped in and became a nuisance in the paint, consistently blocking shots and winning rebounding battles. It also did not help the Warriors that they were losing rebounding battles against other Blazers, such as Toumani Camara, Caleb Love, and Deni Avdija, all of whom had 6 or more rebounds. He, Al Horford, was unavailable. "I don't know exactly what happened. But they came to me, said Al was out. I was not sure what it did. That's the game, a lot of them, rebounds, turned to threes, a couple of Caleb Love's threes were off offensive boards. 28 to 10 second chance points, that's the game," Kerr said about the Warriors' rebounding issues. "We tried to play big more in the second half. Obviously, we started Quinton, post, for Will, Richard, then we played Tracy, Jackson Davis, some. We tried to keep our bigger guys out there. Give them credit, they played a great second half. We may have to play 2 bigs more often. Al, QP, or Tracy with Draymond. We'll have to look at that. The Warriors must be more dynamic to win games." After the loss to the Trailblazers, the Warriors are now 9-9 this season. They do not have the sky-high expectations like the Oklahoma City Thunder, but the Warriors want to capitalize on their small window with the older roster. Do you like the NBA Cup? It will be challenging to play against all the other top teams if they do not solve the issues at hand. With the current squad, rebounding is definitely an issue, as they rank in the 20s among all 30 NBA teams. This was a tough loss for the Warriors in the NBA Cup, considering the Blazers' recent form and list of injuries. Moving forward, it is up to Kerr to set his team up for success because they should match up well against their opponents. Exploring why Warriors' defense is faltering after Jimmy Butler's candid comments. It's not just one thing that's plaguing Golden State's defense. After the Golden State Warriors' 127-123 NBA Cup loss to the Portland Trail Blazers, Jimmy Butler had a candid take on the team's defense. "We're just not guarding nobody. From what I can tell, I haven't been here long, but that's never been the formula here. What is the source of the defensive downturn? Let's dive in." Main sources of the defensive downturn. From Butler's first game to end of the season last year, the Warriors had the number 1 defensive rating in the NBA, 109.0. This year, it ranks 10th, 112.2. The following stats are part of the problem. The bigger issue. But on Friday against the Trailblazers, the rebounding was the bigger issue. Portland out-rebounded Golden State 52-32, and that led to a 28-10 advantage in second chance points. With such similar personnel year over year, it is hard to pinpoint where things have gone wrong. But the numbers tell a story. Last year, lineups with Buddy Hield or Gary Payton II rebounded poorly. This year, those lineups are rebounding even worse. But the big surprise has been Al Horford. In theory, he should be helping the Warriors rebound with his experience as a defensive anchor, but opponents are rebounding 6.1% more of their misses with Horford in the game than when he's out. That's a massive number, and it makes you wonder if the Dubs should have used their taxpayer mid-level exception, a younger, more athletic big with more potential for rebounds than a veteran stretch 5 like Horford. Horford's total rebound percentage is a career-low 10.3, and that suggests the 39-year-old has lost a step. But it's deeper than just rebounds and turnovers. The Warriors are not stopping the ball. Deni Avdija should not be getting downhill constantly en route to 26 points and 14 assists. It feels like almost every game, dribble penetration is crushing Golden State. This issue is somewhat personnel-based and somewhat focus-based. The Warriors don't have an elite on-ball stopper. Payton was that guy in 2022, but he's not close that to level anymore. They have a few serviceable options, but they don't have, say, Alex Caruso or Jalen Suggs or Amen Thompson. The focus part is more frustrating. You expect Hield to make a mistake here or there, but you don't expect Stephen Curry to give up back cuts to Kamara and Avdija in the last 5 minutes that lead directly to a layup and a backbreaking three. I'm guessing this issue will look better in the coming weeks when the team is a bit fresher, but it's not going to be a strength unless a trade is made. How to fix the issues? I'm sure Steve Kerr isn't panicking yet, as we're only a month into the season. But the Warriors have a lot of issues, and it feels like they need a trade to plug some holes. They could use an elite point-of-attack defender. Someone who can score in the paint, as they are last in points in the paint per game. A big who swallows rebounds. A 3-and-D wing. They are not going to get all these things at the trade deadline, but if they can fix 2 of these things, then maybe they can mask the other issues better. For example, I suggested that Ivica Zubac could be a trade target. He'd score in the paint and swallow rebounds, and perhaps that would be enough to slightly improve the team's offense and defense. Suddenly a few of these losses would be wins. I also suggested trading for Herb Jones. Jones is a very good defender who knocks down threes. I'm not sure he would outright fix the point-of-attack issue, but being a bit better there would go a long way. Warriors set for another frustrating move amid new Al Horford concern. 2025. The Golden State Warriors have a new injury concern following Friday's disappointing loss to the Portland Trail Blazers, having been without Al Horford in the fourth quarter due to hamstring tightness. Despite the potential absence of Horford as part of their center rotation for Monday's game against Utah Jazz, Steve Kerr and the Warriors could be set for another frustrating starting lineup change with the reinsertion of second-year big Quinton Post. Warriors could change their starting lineup yet again. After starting a small ball lineup for the 6th straight game on Friday, Kerr removed rookie guard Will Richard at the start of the second half in favor of Post. That was largely done in order to combat Portland's size and activity on the glass, and in particular Donovan Clingan, who had 13 points and 8 rebounds in the first half alone. Post had some impact early in the second half as the Warriors built an 11-point lead halfway through the third quarter, but Portland's 62-38 differential on the glass, including 21-8 in offensive rebounds, proved the difference in battling back for a 4-point win. The inability to settle on a starting lineup over the past couple of years has been a constant source of frustration for Golden State fans, with that set to continue as Kerr contemplates bringing Post back and going forward. It's a concern, the lack of size. We have been playing relatively small lineups with Draymond Green at the 5. We'll think about going back to Quinton to get more size out there. That's definitely a possibility, Kerr said following the 127-123 loss. Having Post back in the starting lineup isn't frustrating within itself, and might even be the right decision based on the positive numbers the Warriors have with both he and Green on the floor together. But it's the constant back and forth that's growing in annoyance. It's simply not what good teams do, and Golden State have little chance of being a consistently elite team until it's rectified. Just look at the top 2 in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder and Denver Nuggets, who have settled starting lineups when healthy. The other question is what happens with the center rotation if Post starts and Horford is out. Post will undoubtedly play more than the 15 minutes he's averaged so far this season, while it may also open an opportunity for Tracy Jackson-Davis, who even saw brief second-half minutes on Friday as Kerr tried to address the rebounding problem. The Warriors have questions coming from all directions following 3 straight losses, but the starting lineup uncertainty might be the most pressing as they look to get back on track amid their current homestand. Draymond Green is harming himself and young Warriors teammate with noble sacrifice. This sacrifice won't age well. Draymond Green understands that small ball combinations are often the most effective lineups the Golden State Warriors can put on the floor, yet the veteran's willingness to sacrifice himself to play center could also be harming the development of one of his young teammates. Steve Kerr and the Warriors have again reverted back to a smaller starting lineup, leaving not only more physical pressure on Green but also less minutes for second-year big man Quinton Post. Draymond Green's sacrifice is hurting him and young big Quinton Post. Green joked in October prior to the start of the regular season that "I'm gonna ask for a trade if the heavy minutes at the 5 continue." While that was said in jest, it does prove that the 35-year-old isn't thrilled about a role Golden State have once again thrust upon him. However, Green will do anything to win and will openly sacrifice himself for the good of the team and oftentimes his teammates, with one particular example reported by ESPN's Anthony Slater on Thursday in regard to a conversation between the 4X All-Star and Kerr prior to the home opener against the Denver Nuggets last month. "Dre, this is the big center thing that we've talked about," Kerr recalled telling Green. "Well, who does that take out?" Green asked, according to Kerr. "Probably Kuminga," Kerr said. "Let me start at center," Green said. "I want JK to keep the momentum." While Green's willingness to play center is a noble thing to do, it won't necessarily work out well for the Warriors in the long run. The former Defensive Player of the Year looked weary at times during the playoffs, undoubtedly owing to the physical toll that accompanied the small ball starting lineup following Jimmy Butler's arrival in February. Not only is he risking the same harm again by offering to play at the 5 from even earlier in the season, but it's also harming Post, whose minutes are down from an impressive rookie campaign despite the fact he sits only behind Green in terms of plus-minus on the team through the first 17 games. The 7-footer is averaging a solid 14.8 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per 36 minutes, but he's only averaging 14.9 minutes per game, down from 16.3 last season. The Green-Post combination ranks third on the Warriors for any two-man lineup to have played at least 45 minutes together this season, sitting only behind Green and Stephen Curry, along with Post and Brandon Podziemski. The numbers suggest Post should be playing more, and specifically more with Green. So why not start both consistently, allowing for lesser toll on Green and more development opportunity for Post? It's something Kerr and the Warriors surely have to consider to avoid burning out one of their key players before the playoffs even arrive.